Hey all you YouTubers out there, this is Steve Jackson again with callapainter.com, and I just want to make a quick video to show you how we're going to power wash and clean this house. Don't let painters fool you and tell you, oh, you don't need to clean your house first before you paint it, because I could show you on both of my hands how many paint jobs I've had to redo because guys don't want to take the time to clean the house, or they just power wash it without using Mildewcide or bleach, and they don't kill any mildew. And just power washing it isn't going to kill the mildew. So if you spend $5,000 to have your house painted and you don't kill the mildew and you paint right over the mildew, yeah, that's right. That paint job is going to last half as long, if you're lucky. In fact, I got a customer right down the street here from where I'm working who's got that very problem because the guy that came gave him a discounted price. Oh, I'll paint your house for $3,000, man. I'll do a really good job. Well, paint job only lasted about 4 years, and the whole house is covered with mildew. Because what happens is that mildew still underneath the paint, and then it starts to feed off the latex, and then it grows right through the latex paint, especially if you have real light colors. On dark colors so much, like you see on the corner of this house, this is like a dark Sierra brown, it doesn't show through. But when you have light colors like this green, I already power washed the whole upper part of this house. I did all of this all over here. We did everything, so I'm just kind of making a quick little short video just to show you kind of how we do this. And here's what I use. Hold on a second. Clorox Outdoors works great. I mix this stuff with usually 7 parts of Clorox Outdoors. I'm sorry, 7 parts of water to 1 part of Clorox Outdoors. I want your house to still be here tomorrow. Okay, and if I'm doing like a deck, I might make it a little bit stronger, like 1 part of Clorox Outdoors to 4 parts of water, just because decks get a lot of algae and scum and moss and stuff growing on them. But you got to put that stuff on. That's important. Not only that, but it loosens up the dirt, cleans everything, and then when you power wash it all off, you got a surface that's nice and clean and fresh, and your paint job is going to last you 8 or 9 years like it should, okay? And then what I do is I put it on with a little hand pump sprayer. It's like this one here. Just spray it on, okay? So first what we're going to do, so I'm just going to spray some of this on, and then we're going to start up the power washer. And what I'm using is, my power washer broke down on me. Normally I use a 4,000 PSI power washer, 2 gallon per minute, so you can get some serious volume going. But I rented this power washer here from Ed's Rental. It's a 2,000 PSI. It doesn't put out a lot, but it's enough to clean the house. But if I'm doing something like a really big project, you got to have something that can put out some serious volume. Otherwise, it'll take you 3 times as long to get your house washed. So if you're a homeowner and you want to clean your own house, that's okay. You can rent something small like that. But when you're in a commercial business like me, you got to have heavy-duty equipment. Okay, so let's get ahead and start putting on some bleach. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to spray this whole thing down. Make sure you cover everything. Soffit, fascia, get the whole underneath. I'm just going to do a small section here so I don't bore you, because this is going to take about 10 minutes to wash all this off. So I'm just going to clean all this right here on the corner so you can kind of just see how we do it. You got to keep pumping up your sprayer and make sure you get everything completely covered, especially underneath these boards. That's where all the mildew is. If you got on the sunny side of a house, because this right here, this is the north side of the house, but if you're on the south side of the house where you get a lot of sun exposure, on a lot of homes, especially if they got a good paint job, you don't have to put bleach on. You can just power wash it and clean it. But if you see little black spots all over the house, yeah, that means you got mildew or black mold. Especially the window frames too. You want to make sure you spray all the window frames off and get all that stuff off of there, because there's dirt and gunk everywhere. Okay, so we just clean all that right there. Okay, and then what I do is I let that sit on there for a couple minutes or so. Let it soak in. Because if you, for example, I can't show you here because the lighting's not good, but you can tell by looking at your gutters and your downspouts These gutters on this house are kind of a putty gray color, and when you look up at them, you'll see black spots all underneath the gutters. That means you got mold and mildew on there. Usually it's black mold that's growing on there. So that's a good indication to tell you that the house needs cleaning, because it's not good to leave that stuff on there for a long time because it deteriorates the finish. Okay, so we leave that stuff sit on there for a few minutes. I'm going to crank up the power washer now, and we're going to power wash it off. Now, one thing you want to do when you're power washing your house is don't stick the power washer up there an inch away from the wood, because you're going to tear up the wood. Okay, the power washer is only used to wash the stuff off. Now, in the case of a deck like this deck that I'm working on in this house here right now, this guy didn't clean this thing for about 8 years, and it's got green mold growing all over it, and it's really old. This deck is like 22 years old. And so what happens is the wood starts getting all pitted and rough, and then you got to take your power washer and you got to basically power wash the stuff off with it. And I hate to do that to a nice wood deck. If it was a new deck, I wouldn't do that. I'd hold it about 1.5 feet, 2 foot away just to rinse the chemicals off. But in this case, you got to hold that nozzle about 4 or 5 inches away from the wood to really get some power. And this power washer that I'm using here, 2000 PSI, it doesn't have the power coming out the end like my 4000 PSI has, so I have to hold it closer, and it takes a lot longer to do it. Normally I could wash off this deck. This is like a 20 by 25 foot deck. I could have that whole deck cleaned in like about 2 hours, but here I've been working on this thing now. I'm only half done, and it took already about 1.5 hours, 2 hours, because it's that dirty. Okay, so let's get the house washed. Okay, I'm using a power washer handle with a 25-degree tip on here, all right? And then if I gotta do stuff where I gotta reach up really high, let me show you what I got. This is my telescoping extension tool. These things are cool, man. It'll go up 22 feet. All you do is just expand it. You just keep expanding it, and it just keeps getting longer and longer. Because when you're power washing a whole house, nobody in their right mind is going to climb up a 25 or a 30-foot ladder and do that. That'd take forever, okay? All right, let's start washing. Oh yeah, and make sure you clean it all off until the soap suds are gone. Because if you don't clean it long enough and there's still soap suds on there, you still got bleach on the wood, and you don't want to paint over a surface that still has bleach on it. Okay, that's how you do it. And did you notice how I was spraying up underneath those things? Because that's where that mildew, the black mold, gets underneath all the edges. So make sure, friend, if you're going to clean your own house, that you do it right. Take your time. I did this a little quick. Normally I would spend a little bit more time washing it off, but I don't want to sit here and bore you to death. But the best thing is to call me, Steve Jackson, at callapainter.com at 262-903-0298, and let me power wash and paint your house, and I'll give you a job that'll last you 8 or 9 years. Okay? Thanks for watching.